Welcome to Nails and Networks. I'm Jeff Wilson, business coach and AI strategist for the construction industry.
And I'm David Bernardino, a fractional marketing executive, AI nerd, and current corporate chair of the NAHB's Leading Suppliers Council. One thing happening in the industry and one real problem worth solving. One thing to do about it on Monday morning. Today's problem is dressed up as a strength.
So basically, and we see this in so many businesses and contractors, I'd say more than most, is I don't advertise much. All my work is word of mouth. And frankly, it sounds like that's like the best business you could have because you don't have the overhead and expense of marketing. And it sounds like it's the best thing in the world. And you're 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 banking on your reputation and that it's so good that the phone just rings. But this is the uncomfortable part and why we're talking about it today. Because an all word of mouth isn't a strategy. It's basically a hope and a prayer that you don't control because it works right up until the month or the quarter or maybe even a year that it doesn't. When word of mouth business, for whatever reason, goes quiet because you have no control. There's no levers to pull because you never built it as a channel and funnel for bringing business to your business. That's not a marketing gap. That is a cash flow crisis that is waiting to happen. And it will. And we've seen it in every business. So let's talk about that, David. What have you shared?
Yeah, I think at the end, when you say, hey, I'm only reliant on word of mouth, it gives you a false sense of security. And I think that's what you're trying to get at, Jeff. Because, yeah, word of mouth, everyone loves it. It means you've built a reputation for good service, professionalism, quality work, all those things that, should demonstrate word of mouth. But I think a lot of folks will use it and say, all right, I don't need to do anything else because I have this funnel of referrals that are coming in. But here's the thing, most folks just sit on it. And again, it creates a false sense of security, which it's like the frog in the pot that slowly boils. You don't know that you have a problem until it's actually a problem. And that's the rub.
Yeah, it works when it works, and when it doesn't work, it's like, oh no. So this is the market context. Referrals are hand down the best leads any business owner and certainly contractors can get. They close at a dramatically higher rate than cold leads. They're less price sensitive and they cost nothing up front. How can you get better than that? I mean, the vast majority of contractors and trade businesses say that their business comes from referrals and repeat customers, and most of them say that that's their number one source of work. So so far that sounds really great. I mean, that how could you beat that? But there's the catch that nobody talks about. That happy customers normally don't refer anyone. Not because they wouldn't, but because nobody ever asked. And nothing ever reminded them to. And study after study has shown there's an incredible, huge gap between customers that are willing to refer and those that actually do. So the number one source of work for most contractors is also because they default a source that they don't control. We're going to talk about changing that. And because that is the problem in just that one sentence, you don't control it. We're going to talk about getting control.
Yeah, Jeff, you raise a good point about how most happy customers never refer anyone. Just think about it. Your unhappiest customers are the ones that scream the loudest. Your happiest customers are like, yep, job well done in their mind. They must be good. And so again, you just get this false sense of security that I have all these happy customers and that they're going to do something with me. It's like having planting the ground with a bunch of seed and forgetting to water it. And so at the end, word of mouth is an outcome, right? It's an outcome of good branding, good work. At Procter, when I was there, we used to say, getting the loyalty of your customers is based on winning both the first moment of truth, aka, you win at the shelf and the consumer buys your product, and then winning the second moment of truth, which is, did your product experience delight the consumer? Did it deliver on what you told the consumer you're going to do? And then if you won both moments of truth, you would earn the right to get the consumer's loyalty, whether it's repeat purchases, testimonials, things like that. The same holds true here, right? Word of mouth is an outcome of all those good things. However, it's not a channel you can turn up when you need it. This is one of those things where you have to be consistent each and every day. And the mistake that contractors, and we can even broaden this to just any business owner, is that you make treating an outcome as if this were the plan. You can't dial up word of mouth when the business is slow in February. That just doesn't happen. So unless, and this is the whole episode, unless you build a system that manufactures it on purpose, you've created a business that is reliant on hope. And last I checked, hope is not a strategy.
I think it's also a bumper sticker. Uh, the, and I think that's really a good term, David, to say manufacturing referrals. And you have to think of it as one, a process, and two, it requires an assembly line that you have to keep doing it consistently and do it proactively. And not being proactive is why so many contractors say, well, we just wait for the phone to ring, and when it rings, it's someone who's been referred to us, and they're already pre-sold. It's extremely dangerous because that passivity is a disaster for your business waiting to happen. And it plays out over time, and it's always the same story because business is good. So you're just busy getting work done, doing what you do, and the referrals are coming in. You have to get estimates out. You're managing a project. You have to deal with the problems of the day, and whether that be getting materials in or labor, whatever, those are the things that are consuming your time. And you're thinking, gee, we don't even have enough crew to handle more work. We're just too busy. I'm overwhelmed. Well, you're feeling great. Money is coming in. Things are going well, and you do zero marketing. You're just happy and passive. Uh, and that is exactly when you should be marketing because the seasons change. And one or two jobs wrap up in the same week, or a referral source moves away or passes away, um, or for whatever reason you lose touch, and suddenly your pipeline is empty. And now you're staring at a slow month. And as you said, David, there isn't a faucet, a spigot you can turn on and all of a sudden get word of mouth. So there's no leads, there's no list, no prospects, no quotes, because you didn't have a system and you have no lever to pull. All you were doing is praying and waiting for the phone to ring with someone who wants to hire you. We've seen this happen, and I'd like you to talk about this, David. When we see contractors panic spend on ads that they've never run before, and They don't really know what their audience is. They don't exactly know where they should be focusing, what the message is. And it's when cash is the tightest and they don't have the time to test, they don't have the time to do proper research, and it becomes a crisis. And it was all there months before when everything felt fine.
Yeah, you raise a really good point. This is all about the feast or famine cycle. Um, at the end of the day, this is not a marketing failure. It goes back to a common thread that we've talked about in previous episodes of this podcast. It's a systems failure. It's a process failure. And the business that only harvests referrals passively, does nothing to smooth out that curve of feast or famine. You're basically at the whims or at the mercy of the whims of the market. That's not a way to run a business. It's not a way to run a railroad. It's not a way to run any organization. A real brand engine produces demand steadily, such that you're not making decisions from desperation or from a position of weakness. And unfortunately, desperation is the most expensive brand posture. And I've seen it way too many times where you get founders or brands or businesses that realize, holy crap, I am not going to deliver things. And they end up making decisions that make absolutely no sense when all they had to do was be consistent about things and get through it versus they're now in a situation of desperation and you end up having a multitude of problems that you need to solve for, cash flow being the most critical one.
Right. And they're attempting to prime the lever to get business with cash that they don't have at the worst possible time. So let's talk about those numbers. So say referrals are bringing you 6 jobs in a good month and one in a slow one. So at a $10,000 average job, that swing is $50,000. If you're a home builder, you can do the math, you can multiply up, but we'll use this as someone in the trades. But that $50,000 of revenue variance is something you don't control. It goes month to month, up and down, all based on the whims of when referrals are coming in passively to you. That is what kills contractors. Not the low revenue, it's the ups and downs because your team is either too big for the business you have or too small for the business that's coming in. You're not you're not in control of the flow. You're trying to adjust your business to the flow of referrals that you're not in control of. So if you can run a business on 40,000 a month of revenue, it's terrific. But you can't run a business at 60,000 and then 10,000 and then 50,000. That variability, you can't staff it, you can't plan. You're going to be running around working on problem solving and doing things you shouldn't be doing when you're really busy. And when things are slow, you're going to be desperate and doing things that you shouldn't be doing, but they're different. Passive referrals are what guarantees that swing. And we've seen more businesses go out of business because of that lack of consistency, giving them cash flow problems than anything else.
So you raise an interesting point, Jeff. And I'm sure you've seen this many times before. You're a contractor, you're a founder of a business, and you're in a feast month. So what's the psychology here? You feel invincible. And when you feel invincible, you feel like, oh, times are good. I don't need to sell anymore. I don't need to market myself. And so you stop doing those business development activities, which you all know got you to where you were at today. And then when you get into famine mode, the same person starts to feel desperate and overspends and overcommits. Again, to the point you said earlier, Jeff, overspends cash that they don't have. Here's the rub. Both feelings are lying to them. A system or process doesn't have feelings. Doesn't care whether you're in a feast mode or a famine mode. It just keeps producing. And that's why you need to systematize the thing that you're best at instead of leaving it to mood and luck. This is what it's all about, reducing the variability of the feast or famine such that it becomes more predictable. And with predictability, you can start to do things like make strategic investments, hire more staff, do all the things that, you know, growing stable businesses would normally do. But now you have the systems and processes to absorb it, but also to leverage it.
So it's really a key, and you talk about strategy. It's a strategic shift. It's about engineering the acquisition of referrals. So you don't abandon getting referrals because they are your best asset, but you stop relying on chance and prayer bringing you referrals. That you turn word of mouth from being something that just happens because people love us to something you're causing to happen. You're manufacturing on purpose. And honestly, it's not that complicated. There's just three moves. The first is you ask every single time automatically. David and I have a friend, Robert August, a legend in the sales in the residential home building industry. He asks for referrals in every meeting with every client, with every referral, with every prospective client, with every lead, with everyone he knows. If someone comes to fix something in his home, he asks them for referrals. That is doing it automatically. Here, we may want to do it a little more slowly, but you set something up is that when someone first works with you, you automatically say, who do you know? And then you can have certain milestones in that process. But definitely where everyone should start right now is 30 days after a job is completed, an automated message goes out. Could say, glad you're happy with the work. If you know anyone else who needs the type of high quality work we do, we'd love an introduction. And you do it automatically through email, text, and phone. And you can have all three of them done, frankly, with AI. You can have them all just done automatically. They can be personalized. They don't sound canned. And it's every customer, every job, every time. It's not, well, I don't know if this is a good time. Don't remember it. Don't be awkward. It just happens 30 days, boom. Two, you make it easy. Don't get mealy mouthed. Don't get awkward. Just give them a simple link. Let me text you a link. Let me email you a link. Here's a QR code. And they can send pre-written text and forward that to with a small thank you to anyone they want. And it reduces the effort to near zero because they just write someone's name and maybe their email address or phone number. The system takes the rest of it. Referral rates double, triple, quadruple. We've seen more. But just automating it alone easily will double or triple. And then three, you stay in front of past customers so you're the name that they say when a friend asks. What's the old saying? Out of sight, out of mind. A quarterly check-in, a seasonal tip is at the end of a harsh winter, say, how'd your deck hold up over the winter? Did your heater work well? is your roof still fine? Was there ice buildup anywhere? Is there any leaks? Would you like us to come check? Low pressure, just be in touch. The contractor who's still in their inbox or in their text message, or for those who are in Europe, in the WhatsApp, they're the one who gets named at the dinner party, at the soccer game, bowling, wherever. That's the key. David, can you talk a little bit about what you see happening with those kinds of systems these days? You're very active in systems and automating these marketing processes.
Yeah, at the end, these systems, it comes down to a way of thinking, right? And similar to any lead, right? We talked about in previous episodes how you need to manage your leads from start to finish. Referrals are the same way, right? A referral is just another lead through a different source. And whether they're a past customer or a referral from a current customer, whatever it is, they need to be managed and curated and nurtured with the same degree of care. And so, if you've already created a CRM system and you're using it to the best of your ability, and you already have the processes in your organization to effectively get those leads through that proverbial funnel, treating a referral should be no different. And so, if you start to think about referrals as just another source of potential opportunities, so long as you already have the systems in place and the processes in place, this is a relatively easy exercise for you to manage and curate.
Yeah, it's really key that you just follow those three rules, which is ask and ask often, make it easy, and stay present. Don't be a nag. Don't be annoying. Be their friend. Be in touch. That doesn't mean you call them every week, but stay in touch at least on a quarterly basis, and have a system that is continually running and doing the work. Have a system that does the heavy lifting. You want to be the point of contact. You want to have the personal relationship with them. You want to take their credibility when they're referred, when someone is referred to you. You want to be the one that speaks to them, talks to the prospect, and has that warm relationship. And the other great thing about referrals, it seems obvious, David, but most people don't realize that people who come to a business as a referral refer more people by double than those who come through any other channel, because it's a natural way. Now, we use the term pay it forward. It's just a mindset. So the key is having a system that turns your most valuable asset, which is your reputation, into a pipeline that you can count on. So your reputation is that asset. The system is how you get paid for it again and again and again. So we're not going to talk about the Monday morning move. So Monday, this is what we want you to do. It's simple and it's going to sound really easy, but it's the consistency that's going to make the difference. Set up one automated referral ask. That's it. If you have a CRM, you can do that. You can set up an automated email. If you don't, make that your number one task. Get a CRM. There are free ones out there. I'm going to mention HubSpot because that's what they're known for, a free CRM. Do it. You could even just mark it on your calendar to ask 5 people for a referral. Oh, and it could be by phone, could by text or email. Have a message that goes out 30 days after a job. That's the automation part. That's going to pay huge dividends. And it's something simple like, Hey, hey Jane, glad you're happy with the work. If you know anyone else who needs a new kitchen, we'd really appreciate the introduction. Turn it on for every closed job going forward. That automation does something you've probably never done consistently. Asks for a referral. Most of your referral upside isn't locked behind you doing better work. If you're in business for a number of years, you're probably doing pretty good work. It's why people refer you in the first place. But those referrals are locked behind the ask that you forget to make. So if you want to make a bonus move, pull your past customer list. So this is like for your go-getters. Even if it's a messy spreadsheet, and send one seasonal check-in this month. Refer to a holiday, refer to the season, refer to something coming up. Make it timely. That's the most valuable and most ignored asset in your business. It's a pipeline you've already earned. And if you're building that full engine where you ask for referrals, where you get review requests, and then you have reactivation campaigns going back to past customers and leads, it sounds like that's more than you want to do yourself. There are resources where you can get it done for you. You can check down below. We have some great links on tools, guides, how to do that. But start with one referral ask and turn it on this week.
So the reason why this 30-second Monday morning tip works is that you're not creating demand from scratch. You're harvesting demand that you've already earned, and to be really blunt, you've already left on the table. Your happiest customers want to help. They just need to be asked, and you need to make it easy for them. Systematize the task, systematize the ask as well, and you'll turn your reputation into a business building machine. Just start there.
I love that idea of harvesting. I'm not a farmer. I grew up in New York City, though my wife has become a little farmer in our home. She has a garden, but you can prepare the ground and put in the seeds. What we're asking you to do Monday is to water them, and the water is the ask. Referrals aren't a strategy when they're passive. Without you asking, they're a cash flow crisis that's going to hit you inevitably. The fix isn't to walk away from word of mouth. Your reputation, the work you've done, that is the soil. That's the fertilizer. Everything's ready. Now we're asking you to engineer a drip irrigation system. So ask every time and make it easy. Be present. Let the system do the three aspects. Ask, make it easy, and follow up. Set up one referral ask this week. If you want the deeper dive and how to do that, just hit the link below, and we'll see you next time.